Taoiseach, in January of 2018, Minister Owen Murphy announced a Rebuilding Ireland Home Loan Scheme, which would be available to all local authorities. He announced it with great fanfare as a solution to many people who weren't in a position to get finance to purchase homes. As we learned fairly quickly, anyone with a busy constituency office would know that the scheme was extremely difficult to process, many hurdles put in front of people, and many delays, far from the 4 to 6 weeks. It went on for months in many cases. And also, the Minister at the time announced that a second fund would be created very quickly, that it would be demand driven, and that, given the overall state of the mortgage market, with 99 billion about, he said, out there, this was a demand-level scheme that would progress. But we learned from Louise Byrne, RT Morning Ireland this morning, that in a briefing note to his own press office, the Department of Housing said that the Department of Housing says that it has been advised that no further approvals should issue for now, that the Department are undertaking a review of the scheme, and that both the Department of Public Expenditure and the Department of Finance are engaging. Now, this is on the 31st of this year. Now, notwithstanding that Deputy Dáil Éireann has put in parliamentary questions on this, notwithstanding that Deputy O'D was told in December by the same Minister that he was progressing reforms to ensure the loan can work for more people and more quickly. That's the end of December. More quickly, more people will be in. A month later, he's advising his press office no more approvals should issue. I don't know what planet the Minister is on, but the question I would ask Taoiseach is, why wasn't the scheme extended? Why hasn't it been extended? Why was there no public announcement to the effect? In other words, if you tell your press office, surely the public deserve to know. And why wasn't the Dáil told up front and in an honest way? Why this kind of continuing lack of respect for the House in terms of being open, upfront and honest in terms of what is going on in terms of schemes of this kind? I mean, people are still applying. But no one has been approved, no one has been told that no further approvals will issue, except your press office, according to a Freedom of Information out in RT this morning. Why can't the Minister and the Government just be honest with the people in terms of these issues? And could the Taoiseach bring clarity to this? When will the scheme be extended? And to what degree will the scheme be extended? The original limit was 200 million. 1,000 houses were to be allegedly by the Minister accommodated. We've had about 1,550, if not more, applications accepted now. So will those people who have been approved, will they be in a position to draw down their loans?
Taoiseach.
Thanks very much, Deputy. This is a government that believes in the view that everyone has the right to shelter and everyone should be able to aspire to buy their own home. And we're a government that is very committed to home ownership and has taken many actions in recent years to assist people to buy their own home. Take, for example, the Help to Buy scheme, whereby people can get some of their income taxes back in order to help fund a deposit. And so far, 10,000 people have used the Help to Buy scheme to help them get a deposit to buy their first home. 10,000 people today living in a home which they help to buy with the Help to Buy scheme. The Rebuilding Ireland Home Loan Scheme is another way in which we're assisting people to buy their first home. It's open to people with an income, single people with an income of 50,000 or less, couples with an income of 75,000 or less, where they've been refused a mortgage from the bank, but could potentially pay that mortgage back with this product because it's at a fixed low rate, and it has been very popular. So far, 575 people have been helped to buy their first home with a Rebuilding Ireland home loan, and a further 1,000 applicants have been approved, but they haven't yet drawn down the funding yet. The scheme was initially limited at €200 million, and that €200 million has been allocated. But as loans are not drawn down, and loans do expire after 6 months if they're not drawn down, more finance does become available. What we have to consider now is two things, as to whether we should increase the cap above 200 million and that's currently under consideration by government. And we also have to consult with the central bank as well, because this is a mortgage, it is a loan. It's a loan being offered to people who've been turned down by banks and building societies, and it is a loan at a reduced interest rate. So we have to consider two things now. One, whether we should increase the €200 million cap, and secondly, we need to consult with the central bank as to whether they're comfortable with us offering more of these loans, taking into account the fact that it is a low interest loan offered to people who weren't able to get loans from commercial lenders.
When did you discover that you had to do these two things? Because the Minister said back last year that we are not going to wait for the fund to run out before we build up a second fund to allow a continuation of the scheme with whatever changes we might deem necessary. So the Minister said there's going to be no issue here. He's going to continue with a second fund. He was saying that as late as December, before Christmas, when he said in a parliamentary reply he wanted more people and he wanted them processed more quickly. And Taoiseach, you know, it's low-income people again being let down, hopes raised and then dashed with fanfare by the government in terms of raising the hope. But the dashing of the hope is done silently, quietly. Why wasn't this, what you just said now to the House, said by the Minister in parliamentary replies? Why didn't the Minister say he was going to be approaching the central bank, that the central bank were going to put a limit on this? Why all the secrecy and the silence around it?
Thank you, Deputy.
Why can't you guys just be upfront with people and straight with people in terms of what you are doing? I'm not hoping that the problem will go away or somebody might not discover it.
Time is up, Deputy, please.
And you advise your own press office and you tell nobody else, literally. And we're all dealing with applications in our constituencies. People desperately to buy their homes who can get mortgages that will be cheaper than the rents that they're paying. They've been paying higher rents for 7 or 8 years. And they could pay much less if they got a mortgage.
Please, Deputy, now the time.
And we're all going through the charade. Oh, we must get this note from you. We must get that letter from you. Can you go and get that form? That's what's going on in the real world, Taoiseach, out there. While you guys just prance about the place, going on about this and that. It's just not good enough.
Taoiseach.
Deputy, while you're prancing about the place and wagging the finger and telling us off, we're actually doing things in the real world that help people.
Order,
doing
please.
things in the real world that actually help people to buy their first homes. We've helped 10,000 people to buy their first home through the Help to Buy scheme. 10,000 people. While you were wagging the finger, we actually did it for 10,000 people. And when it comes to the Rebuilding Ireland home loan, already 575 people have been helped to buy their first home with that loan. 1,000 more approved, and many of those people will go on to buy a home, and they have 6 months before it expires. When the Rebuilding Ireland home loan was announced, it was announced that it was capped at 200 million and that would run for 3 years. And notwithstanding the fact that the opposition have falsely claimed that it has failed, it's actually been a real success, and there's been enormous uptake. And what we now need to do is two things. First of all, consider whether we can increase the €200 million cap. Find the finance for that. By the way, this money has to be found, as is always the case. And secondly, we have to consult with the central bank.